Hello again. What did I hear? I know. So I go flip on the boob tube, and who do I see? I see hair plug Biden, and who's standing beside him? Well, like crack smoking, floppy eared, homosexual, extremist Muslim Arab. And he wants to share the good news with the American people. And he starts talking about the deal that's been consummated, the deal that they've been working on for over 2 years, the deal that John Kerry's been flying back and forth to Geneva, Switzerland on. And 4 other countries along the United States have agreed to the terms of the deal. And Obama starts off saying that we've negotiated this from an area of strength. But what he didn't tell you that it was the Iranians that had the strength. It wasn't the Americans. So let's assume the United States knocks on their door and says we're here to conduct an inspection. We've already been told we can't inspect their military bases and we can't inspect their nuclear scientific centers. But that doesn't stop us from inspecting their fast food restaurants. It doesn't stop us from inspecting their, I assume they have donut shops. It doesn't stop us from inspecting their gas stations. But let's say we wanted to inspect one of the bases that we knew was involved in making nuclear material. So we knock on the door and we say we're here to inspect. And they say, no, you can't. And we say, well, no, wait a minute now. I mean, Obama cut this deal with Secretary of State. Well, they have 15 days from the day we asked to inspect to comply with the request. So we come back on the 16th day. And again, they say no. So now we have to go to the UN and put an official complaint with the UN. That can take another 15 days. And then they have another 60 days before you can consider removing or replacing the sanctions that you took away. And then you have another 15 days before they can take effect. So altogether, you're going to go through about 120 days. And this is a deal that was cut that has teeth, according to the chosen one. And then we find out, as these negotiations were taking place, and I did a couple of videos on this, about 2 weeks ago, in their parliament, the Iranian parliament, they were chanting. They weren't praying to Allah at this point. No, they were chanting. And what they were chanting is death to America. And then that chanting accelerated. It was out in the streets. Masses of people were chanting death to America. Also death to Israel. So here we are. We've got the President of the United States telling American people that this is a good deal. It'll help prevent nuclear development activity by Iran. And then you got Israel that's sort of bent out of shape. And it isn't just Israel. Saudi Arabia is bent out of shape. So what Obama's really done is he's accelerated other countries to begin their own nuclear development programs. And the possibility is that if Israel believes that these funds that Iran is not going to have access to when the sanctions are lifted, they can start selling their oil and all the money that was held will be released. If they see an influx in terrorist activity, they're not just going to close their eyes to it. So the exact opposite of what Obama said, which is this will help prevent a nuclear holocaust, is going to take place. But isn't that always par for the course? Whatever Obama says, the opposite will happen. Remember when he said you can keep your doctor? You can't. Remember he said when you can keep your insurance? You can't. Remember he said you're going to save $2,500? You can't. Has he ever told the truth? Oh yeah, there was one time when he said, we're 5 days away from fundamentally transforming America. That's the only time that I can remember that he's ever said the truth. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong. The man is completely insane. In our Congress, you know what they can do? Nothing. They have 60 days to review the terms. And if they conclude that it's a bad deal, which a number of them have already come out and said it's a bad deal. Senator Lame Brain Johnny McCain's already said it's a bad deal. And then you got Hillary Rodham Clinton said it's a good deal. So let's say the general consensus is that Congress agrees it's a bad deal. So what? Obama vetoes. Does what he wants to do anyway. So all it's doing is giving the Iranians another 60 days to continue developing their nuclear program. Unabated, unrestricted. That's all it's done. The whole thing is insane. And who do we have to thank for that? Well, a lot of people. Nancy Pelosi for vetting someone that can't be vetted. Elena Kagan for burying his past. Eric H. Holder Jr.'s law firm for being instrumental in burying his past. We've got Harry Reid for lying and committing fraud by switching a bill that was submitted to him for a tax credit for military housing and substituting it with Obamacare. We've got Justice Roberts, who would be more concerned about keeping his 2 daughters than protecting America. There's a lot of people to blame. And you know what's really sad? Nobody has done a damn thing. And nobody can. Can they?